Beto O'Rourke is already in pretty serious trouble in his bid to become the next governor of the state of Texas. Even though incumbent Republican Governor Greg Abbott is still hugely unpopular in the state, and his popularity among his own Republican base is actually lower than that of other Republican governors across the country, Abbott is still beating Beto O'Rourke in the latest polling by 10 points. A long way to go before the election, right? Beto could close a 10-point gap, but it's not the 10-point gap that he should be concerned about. It's the 21-point gap that really matters, because the 21-point gap is the gap between the independents who say they support Abbott over O'Rourke, 42 to 21%. So of course, Abbott's going to pull the Republicans, O'Rourke is going to pull the Democrats, but Abbott has twice as many independents, which of course is going to swing the election his way. So yeah, as it stands right now, Beto O'Rourke's campaign is dead on arrival. And I've never been the biggest fan of Beto O'Rourke. I believe he has some serious missteps, even though I'm okay with his statement that we're going to take the guns away. That personally is not something that offends me whatsoever. In the state of Texas, that's a pretty stupid thing to say. And of course, that is what Beto O'Rourke had said long ago. We're going to come and we're going to take your guns away, feeding into that right-wing myth that they've been pushing for decades, and he said it. That's pretty much a non-starter for any office in Texas. But he recently had to come out and say, no, nobody's going to take anything. So he's already trying to do damage control for something he said a year or two ago. It's not going well. But beyond that, I do have to question why. As I mentioned, Abbott's approval rating, even among Republicans at 77%, may seem high, but it's actually one of the lowest out of all Republican governors in the United States. His own party, 77% are okay with him, 23% are not. That's not good numbers for an incumbent. But more importantly, he only has a 44% approval rating overall in the state. People don't like him. They don't like his policies. Even those hard right policies, people don't like it. But here's where these polls get interesting. Let me read you this. 36% approve of the job that President Biden is doing, and only about a third, so maybe 33%, approve of Republican Senator John Cornyn, Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, also a Republican. Just 43% said they have a favorable view of former President Trump. Senator Ted Cruz has a job approval rating of 39%, while 43% disapprove. Only 23% of Texans believe the country's headed in the right direction. 53% say the economy's worse off than it was a year ago. So Texans, and this is why I think this story is so relevant, it's way beyond Beto O'Rourke. Texans hate their politicians. So how hard is it for the Democrats to find somebody that is popular? They hate Ted Cruz, they hate John Cornyn, they hate Greg Abbott, they hate Dan Patrick, they hate Biden, they hate Trump. You can't get a majority to approve of any of these people. And Beto O'Rourke is the best the Democrats have. But you know what? I'm not going to blame it all on Beto or the Democrats. I'm going to blame it on the voters themselves. Because I think it's time that we kind of start doing that a little bit more. We see this in poll after poll, right? Congress has an 18% approval rating. 18%. And yet people are going to go back to the polls this coming November and vote for the same damn person they've been voting for 20 years and then complain that nothing ever changes. Nothing gets done. I don't like Congress. Meh. You're the problem, voters. You're the problem, Texas voters. You hate your politicians, but you're going to re-elect every single one of them if you can. You want something better? Try something different. You're not happy with the way things are? Then change course. Stop being so damn terrified to take a chance on doing something different. And that goes for Republicans and Democrats. Sometimes you got to shake things up. When you're already admitting you don't like your officials, you don't like where the country's heading, you got nothing to lose by backing someone else instead. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our Ring of Fire channel here.